Oh, another Todd Boehly loophole.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yeah, that's what's happening, friends. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan, back at the desk today. We will return to the office eventually, but I want to reflect on this article from Martin Ziegler from The Times, speaking about, here it comes, Chelsea spend and finances. Though there is some interesting stuff in here to learn about how, firstly, Todd Boehly said something in public, or said to The Times, I guess, for comment, which is in itself a thing. But also Chelsea have done something that was deemed naughty in the EFL when Derby did it, selling their own assets to themselves to go under profit and sustainability rules. Chelsea FC Holdings, sold a hotel to Blueco. Who's Blueco? Well, technically Chelsea. And that's a way of navigating and wriggling through financial fair play. So we're going to figure out what happened, what went down. Pretty interesting, really. Usually this is behind a paywall, but I can read it for free The Times. So I'll read a chunk of it to you. I'll cite some of it, seeing as I have access. And hopefully we can learn something interesting together. So thank you for joining me. Thanks for supporting the content. By liking, subscribing, hitting the bell if you subscribe. I do appreciate all your love and support. Chelsea's financial challenges have been underlined by the accounts that show a wage bill soaring past £400 million last... See, £400 million last season, with losses only reduced by £76.5 million with a property deal with a sister company. So that's selling the hotel to ourselves. We'll get to that. First of all, before we get into the weeds, I think this wage bill from last season includes the likes of course, Raheem Sterling, massive wages, but like Kepa, massive wages, Koulibaly, massive wages, Aubameyang, massive wages, Ziyech, massive wages, Lukaku, massive wages. We'll figure out if I'm wrong along the way, but by all accounts, that's these guys, these are the wage bill that we've absolved ourselves of this season. So Chelsea's £404 million salary cost overtake those both of Liverpool, Man United. Only Man City paid more in wages. Of course, they paid 422 and included large bonuses for their treble winning season. Despite the salary costs and heavy losses of £89.9 million, Chairman Todd Boehly expects the club to comply with financial fair play rules in the foreseeable future. So he did do a quote, which we'll see in just a moment. Chelsea are only the second club to have gone past the £400 million mark, but that sum is believed to include payoffs for sacking Thomas Tuchel and Graham Potter last season and their respective staff as well. Because I guess, the coaches have wages too, right? So that's wage bill. The accounts of Chelsea FC Holdings Limited, published on the company's house for the year ending June 2023. So this is last season. It is really, really important that we understand that, the aforementioned high earners and all that kind of stuff. Again, make clear they make clear that the challenges facing Chelsea in complying with PSR rules next season. Chelsea are likely to have to raise a significant funds by the end of June. So remember, Chelsea deny this £100 million that we've got to pull out of our behinds that everyone's calculating that aren't affiliated with Chelsea. But they may well be right, all these people, these financial experts. But Chelsea, of course, deny it. As well as high wages, the accounts include details that were not made public by the club when their parent company, Blueco 22, Limited Holdings, accounts a month ago. Yeah, so this is interesting. This includes the revelation that Chelsea's financial losses of £89.8 million, which is just under the threshold last season, would have been much heavier had we not reported income of £76.5 million from selling hotel buildings to Blueco 22 Properties Limited, which is also a subsidiary of Blueco 22 Limited. Chelsea selling stuff to Chelsea to financially navigate financial fair play rules. Kieran Maguire is a football finance author. He told the Sunday Times that in the EFL, I remember this happening, money selling these assets to yourself is excluded. Because I remember Derby County, like, sold their own stadium to themselves or something like that. It was a huge deal, and they actually got screwed for it, and it was part of their downfall. So Maguire said, a few years ago we saw the likes of Reading, Birmingham, Derby, Sheffield, and one or other two selling their properties to their owners, there you go, to take advantage of the terms of PSR. So I think Derby tried to sell their stadium to their owner or something. Basically just moving stuff around from your own. It's naughty, but however, according to the Premier League sources, it appears that in the top flight, profit and such sales can be used in PSR calculations. So this can be used for financial fair play in the Premier League. It's not breaking any rules. In 2021, the Premier League considered following the EFL's move to close these loopholes around raising income about selling assets to owner-related companies, but it was never voted on because there wasn't enough clubs voting. This is interesting, right? I think the main thing is fair value. I mean, because like a lot of the problem with the Man City cooking the books, inverted commas, allegedly, is they are pumping money into themselves for stuff like over juicing sponsorship value. So there needs to be an intermediary that says, hold on, you've just paid yourself that much for this service asset sponsorship. It's not worth that, so you can't pile on the money on top. Whereas, you could probably say the hotel that was sold from Chelsea to Chelsea's owner is probably worth that. It was just an opportunity to buy and navigate financial fair play issues. It's just kind of just playing the hands that you've got in many ways, so I guess it's not really naughty ultimately in that sense. So Boehly, he stated in the accounts, so a quote from Todd Boehly, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman, would you Adam and Eve it? He says this: the club continues to balance the success on the field. Hold on. We're severely off balance on the field at the moment. So when you this isn't balance. This is like 10 grams of ketamine and a crate of whiskey. Let's continue. The club continues to balance the success on the field together with the financial imperatives of complying with UEFA and the Premier League financial regulations. The club has complied with these since its inception, great film, in 2012, and will continue or expects to do so for the foreseeable future. Expects to do so for the foreseeable future. You'd prefer him to say, and will continue to do so forever. Expects to do so for the foreseeable future? That's like saying, maybe we'll do it for a bit. Why can't you just say, yeah, we'll definitely always comply? Yeah, we expect to do it for a bit longer. So the £89.8 million loss was made despite Chelsea, of course, making £62.9 million net profit from player trading. We did very well. £83 million from reaching the Champions League quarter-final last season. Yeah, that was dismal in the end. There will be no income from Europe this season, of course. Figures released by the FA on Friday showed Chelsea have spent a top-flight record on £75.1 million on agents' fees. If you want my thoughts on that, watch yesterday evening's video or the later video from yesterday, because, yeah, I do not like the idea of us doing that. But at the same time, again, go watch the video, but I reference how when you build a whole new squad, there's a lot of agents to deal with. There'll be a lot of agents' fees. Chelsea lost £121 million in 21-22, and the Premier League limits clubs losing to £105 million over 3 years, though spending on academy, stadiums, and women's football is exempt. That's good. The impact of the 1920 season, when Chelsea posted a £36 million profit, drops their next PSR calculation in December. The account also shows that since the last season, 21 players have been signed at an initial cost of £454 million, with 10 sold at a profit of £48 million, although the transfer fees can be spread across the length of the player contracts, and Chelsea's are on long ones, of course. Amortization 8 years, and that was the loophole was closed, the 8 year, well, the over 5 year loophole from both UEFA and the Premier League respectively. They both said, right, you can have your loopholes for now, but no more. But of course, That's the transfer fee amortized. Apparently their wages cannot. Their wages are just, I guess, the yearly thing. The biggest profit, of course, the players that can be sold are the likes of Reece James, he won't go. Conor Gallagher might go. Trevor Chalobah probably will go. And of course, we know there are still investigations through previous Roman Abramovich things. Now, the Roman Abramovich stuff, of course, is different. It's not PSR. It's like potential more agent stuff, but potential illegal payments in the Roman Abramovich era. Sort of hangover from different times, I suppose. We'll see what happens with that. That will be investigated down the road. It's very, very different to Man City's allegations as well, so I wouldn't try and compare the two. Interesting. So how do I feel about this? Well, interesting that we got a statement from the chairman saying, we've always complied with FFP and we might do it for a bit longer. So that's a thing. Look, man, am I pleased? Look, it's distasteful, it's unsavoury. Opposition fans are going to be like, oh, you're doing all this stuff, you're cheating, or whatever. And I get it. I might say the same if I was in their position. But the truth is, Chelsea have assessed and analysed their position, and they've optimised their ability to utilise funds to rebuild the squad and do whatever. Of course, they're allowed to build a stadium out of PSR, so that's different. And, you know, the money's there, so we don't have to worry about that. But, in terms of player, squad building, clearly they looked at it, they looked at the game, football as a whole in Europe, the governing body, the FA, the rules, and say, right, how can we take advantage here? How can we milk it completely? One thing we know about Clear Lake, they're money guys, right? So they've obviously assessed this and thought, right, this is a way we can get more money, we can amortize, do this, that, and the other, we can do this loophole. Alright, you can't do this in the EFL, but there's no rules in the Premier League to prevent us from selling ourselves one of the hotels to make this profit. Let's do that. You know, maybe they've just planned ahead and they're like, yeah, we can afford to do this because we can do this. Maybe they've sat down in a meeting and they've got backup. They've got like, oh God, I hate to say it, makes me feel dirty, but like Barcelona-style livers with their own cash. And they're like, right, if we need to spend an extra so-and-so and what's his face, we activate 7th lever and sell the hotel to ourselves. We could do this, we could do that. I just hope they're working within their means. I mean, clearly they're not working within their initial means, but their backup means as well. I mean, certain people in finances will take their hat off to this and be like, it's clever. Well done. Optimization. Let me know what you think, guys. I hope the sound isn't out of sync. It may be a tiny bit, but if it is, hopefully it's not too jarring for you guys. Yeah, man, I will be back in the office at some point. I'm just a bit poorly still and run down, so it's easier for me to work at the desk here. But I do want to reference these stories and bring them to you when they surface for you guys. So hopefully enjoy it. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content, and I'll hopefully see you back here soon. Peace.